I wish you brought someone as pretty as me, like an actress or a reporter. It's embarrassing that it's a plain piggy like you. I was astonished when my mother-in-law said that to me with a grin when I came to greet her at my wedding. How could she make fun of someone she had almost never met before? I envy you. You're obese and weigh 180 pounds? I wish you could share the weight with me. My in-laws gawked at my body shape. My patience was being squeezed to the brink of breaking under the condescending stares. I'm Courtney, 31 years old. My parents run a farm in the countryside, and they always told me to eat a lot, and I have always taken that seriously. And I found myself becoming the chubby girl that everyone recognizes. I once tried dieting, but I could not restrict my diet. I couldn't stand to see food that farmers like my parents would have carefully produced thrown away at the hands of girls who were much thinner than I was. I can't change the way I live, but I can't like myself as I am. In order to come to terms with my inadequate self, I took a leap of faith and decided to get the job I have now. 3 years later, when I was getting support from other women who were also struggling with the same issues, I began to accept myself. Soon after, I met Scott through work, and we became friends, and soon started dating. However, after we had been lovers for a while, I had to go abroad for work. My boyfriend Scott and I were in a long-distance relationship for about 5 years. During that time, we were on the verge of breaking up several times, but each time we talked it out, and we overcame the difficulties by discussing and reconciling our feelings. Soon after I returned to the US after finishing work, he proposed to me. Of course I said yes. I was happy, and my work and private life were smooth sailing. First, we went to my parents' house to report our marriage and received generous hospitality from them. 2 weeks later, we went to his parents' house to say hello. He seems very uncomfortable even though it was his parents' house. I knew from what I had heard that their relationship was not good, and they were almost insulated. His family is a family of people in the entertaining industry. He also told me that he is an outcast there. On the way to his parents' house, he was dressed in a suit and told me about his family, which he had never actively talked about before. His father, Robert, is a comedian who used to be a dominant figure in his generation. His mother, Chloe, used to be a model and was charismatic among middle and high school girls. His sister, Ellen, is a new singer.
My parents are from the past, but they think they are still at the forefront. And I'm treated like a failure because I didn't become an entertainer.
Sure, you're not a celebrity, but as a behind-the-scenes person, you're amazing. You're not a failure. He laughed at my unintentional words.
You're more amazing than me. I can't say it openly yet, though. Here we are.
I was stunned to see my in-laws' house that he brought me to. The white Western-style house surrounded by a fence with roses in bloom in places. It was like entering a fairy tale world. It stood out from the rest of the neighborhood. This is your parents' house?
I heard that my father built it according to my mother's taste.
He told me this without hesitation, and walked on with an unflattering look on his face.
Hello, welcome.
The man who opened the front door was my father-in-law with a cheerful look on his face. He was the comedian I used to see on TV. He was Sunrise Robert, whose orange full-body suit was a feature of the show back then. But I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw him. He was wearing a jacket covered in sequins and a big booty that looked as big as his face. But the bottom half of his body was not covered in sequin, but in a threadbare jersey and bare feet.
Dad, I told you I'd be bringing my fiancée today, didn't I?
I was startled by his sharp voice.
Oh, sorry. I have to greet her.
Nice to meet you. I'm the woman dating your son.
I'm Sunrise Robert, the famous rise and sink guy. Of course you know who I am, don't you, young lady?
What? My father-in-law interrupted my greeting with a line that I had heard on TV many times before. He winked at me very poorly. That word, that attitude. His earlier words, he didn't seem to care at all. Plus, he called me young lady. I was taken aback by the things he said and did that I didn't think he would say or do to his son's fiancée.
You happen to be back for a while, and you still look as bitter as ever. Well, I don't want to stand around and talk, so come on in. Oh, you can't take pictures. It's a private space.
My father-in-law said, and went into the back of the room, his footsteps making a pitter-patter sound. Welcome to our lovely home. When I opened the door to the living room, I couldn't help but smile at the two women who were there. There they were, my mother-in-law dressed violently, and my sister-in-law dressed like a magical girl. Both of them are certainly slender and beautiful, as they are both celebrities. My mother-in-law looked at least 10 years younger than she actually was. The sister-in-law had pigtails and was wearing a one-piece dress with a big gem at the neckline. I couldn't believe that she was in her late 20s. We didn't know what kind of girl you were going to bring, so we went all out. I look good, don't I? I smiled affectionately at my mother-in-law's words. Combined with my father-in-law's attire, I feel as if I've been mixed in with a Halloween party. Then, I feel the judging glances, as if I wasn't worthy of being there. I gently dropped my gaze and reassessed my outfit. The dress I had bought for the occasion was brand new and without a single wrinkle. Even my accessories were simple and elegant. My hair and makeup were done by my favorite hair salon. I straightened my back and smiled at her. My name is Courtney, and I'm dating Scott. Nice to meet you. As soon as I had finished the basic greetings, my sister-in-law took one look at the paper bag I had handed her. Is that candy? I knew that with a body type like that, your souvenirs must be food. What did you say? I have that kind of body type? Now, you and I need to talk, don't we? Please sit down. My mother-in-law said with an elegant laugh, as if nothing had happened. I sat down in the chair and made a creaking noise. I heard everyone except me and Scott let out a small gasp. My mother-in-law widened her eyes and asked, Oh my goodness! How many pounds are you? Even my husband wouldn't creak. You're not 160 pounds, are you? Can you tell me?
Hey, that's rude.
What? It doesn't matter what I ask. Besides, if I need to, I will have to get a sturdier chair.
You know what?
Scott, it's fine. It would be bad if I broke the chair. I weigh 180 pounds. 180 pounds? Wow! That's like twice my size. How can you get so big? Scott gave me one loud cough, and the family finally quieted down. He introduced me again, and we restarted our greetings. My name is Courtney. It's nice to meet you. My father-in-law laughed at me.
You guys are grown-ups. You don't need my permission to get married, do you?
I was about to burst out laughing in relief, regardless of my choice of words, when my father-in-law continued.
I'm sure you understand this. If you're going to marry that chubby plain girl, don't invite us to the wedding.
What? Yeah, don't you feel that it's rude to me, who gave birth to someone as good-looking as you, to marry someone like her? You started working at a TV station because you were longing for the glamorous world, weren't you? If you were going to work at a TV station, you might as well marry an announcer or an actress. If she were as beautiful as me, I would have welcomed her. It's embarrassing to be related to a country pig like her. Well,
If you really want to get married, then we will have nothing to do with it.
My in-laws nodded in agreement. We were appalled by my in-laws who rejected us as.
Come on, you don't know anything. Have you no shame? She's...
He gulped down his words as I pulled his arm to calm him down.
She's actually the #1 female professional wrestler or something.
My mother-in-law and sister-in-law laughed out loud at my father-in-law's joking tone. Oh, really? But then again, her plump breasts and lower body are a bit of distraction, aren't they? My sister-in-law says this as she stares at me. My mother-in-law nodded in agreement and continued. I envy you. You're obese and weigh 180 pounds, and I want you to share your weight with me. Then you could give my slender figure a little more body. My mother-in-law pinched the flesh of my cheek. The fake nails dug in, and when I frowned, she gave me a look of obvious disapproval. What? I was only joking. You're such a rude girl to stare at me like that. Something snapped inside me. I understood how you all feel now. But let me ask you this. Would you rather have me or your family? I asked Scott in a quiet voice as I looked over at my in-laws, who were making fun of me and getting loud and excited. You, Courtney. He called my name in a whisper. I was ready for that one word. I slipped my hand gently into the bag that was in my hand and quietly asked the family, You told me to do what I wanted with my marriage, right? My father-in-law looked taken aback by the tone of my voice and laughed. As far as I can tell, you said that you don't consider us family or relatives. Can I take that as a declaration of insulation? So what? My mother-in-law beat down hysterically. I continued in a quiet voice. Understood. Then that's how we will take it from here on out. Thank you very much for today. We will leave you now. I stood up, bowed my head and left. We left the premises and got into the car. After taking a deep breath, I took his hand and bowed. I'm sorry for saying all that earlier. I will ask you again. Would you rather?
I want to marry you. I want you to be my family.
I smiled at his words, and we held each other's hand and started the car. Although he chose me over his family, I'm not that kind of person who can be satisfied with that and let his family's treatment of me slide. You know what? I told him what I was thinking. He seems hesitant for a moment, but then immediately said I could do whatever I wanted. I was going to confront that insane, self-centered family with reality. 6 months later, a message arrived on my husband's phone with a very polite text asking him to come to their house. The sender of the message was his family, whom he hadn't heard from. We could have ignored the message, but similar messages continued to arrive day after day. I should tell them about my plans for the future. We couldn't just leave it at that. We decided to head to my parents-in-law's house for the first time in 6 months. Finally, you're here. Why didn't you come right away? Oh, it's you. Long time no see. After opening the front door and yelling, my mother-in-law took one look at me. You must have thick nerves to really get married. You told me to do as I please. So not long after that, we got married. We contacted each other's parents about our marriage, but only my parents responded properly. So we decided to have a photo wedding after explaining the situation to my parents and relatives. Later, we held a casual wedding party, inviting only those who we both wanted to invite. My mother-in-law clearly looked irritated at my words.
We did tell you about it. You were the one who ignored it.
My husband retorted sharply, and my mother-in-law became silent. Please come in for now. I thought she was going to hysterically turn me away. In the living room, my sister-in-law and father-in-law were arguing about which of them was going to show the program.
You're still only looking out for yourselves, aren't you?
My husband muttered to himself, but it didn't seem to have reached the ears of the family. My mother-in-law called my father-in-law and sister-in-law and sat them down in chairs side by side. I've called you here for something important. I just want to ask you to give us a little bit of money.
What are you talking about?
I only need a little bit. $1,000. No, $800. If you work for a company, you get paid every month, right? You need to help your family.
I can't afford it. I have plans.
Plans? We were going to Paris soon. It's for my job. Your work? Yes. Even if you're a little fat, it's easy to travel first class. At my words, the family members quieted down to a scene for a moment. Then, they started to laugh out loud. A country girl going overseas for work? You're going to lie like that because you don't want to help us out? I'm not lying. Besides, I'm not a farmer.
She's a plus-size model, an actress who works mainly overseas.
My mother-in-law and father-in-law opened their mouths. My sister-in-law rushed to her phone and started searching for information. Mom, look at this! Comparing me to the screen, my in-laws twisted their lips, as if they couldn't believe what they were seeing. But you're a farmer's daughter. That's true, but I didn't take over the family business. 6 months ago, I still couldn't say it out loud, but now that it's open to the public, I guess it's okay. I took off the movie poster and took it out of my bag. No way! The three of them stared intensely at the poster. There I was, posing beside the main character, albeit with different makeup and hair, in a series of films by a Hollywood film director that everyone had heard of. I was a newcomer, but I had been chosen to be a key player in this film. Who cares if you're in a movie? My mom and dad have been in movies too. I've done a voiceover in an animated film or two. Yeah, that's right. Just because you've been in a movie directed by a famous director doesn't make you better than us. I smiled at my mother-in-law and sister-in-law, who were trying to get at me. You're right. I'm still a rookie, and I'm not well known. I was told I wouldn't be accepted unless I was good enough, so I didn't even get into my grandfather's production company. And I went on audition after audition, and that's how I got where I am today. Right? My in-laws smirked as if they won. Then all of a sudden, my father-in-law jumps up in a panic.
Wait a minute! Your grandfather's production?
He bit the bait. I suppressed the urge of smirk and replied with an annoying look on my face. Didn't I tell you? My parents are farmers, but my grandfather on my mother's side is the president of a Polaris Productions.
What?
My parents-in-law were speechless at my words. Yes, my grandfather is a powerful man in the entertainment industry, who is also known as the Don of the entertainment industry. He is known to many people in the industry, both young and experienced, and his words hold a lot of value. Polaris Production is also home to famous and popular actors and comedians with more than 10 shows under their belt. Even if you are not familiar with the industry, you may not be unaware of Polaris Productions. You can't be serious. The reason I haven't been getting any work lately is... What did you say about me? I didn't have time to get to know you all. All I told him was that I want to marry someone, and what kind of reaction I got from his family. My smile made the whole family turn pale. Of course it would. Even though they didn't know it, they judged and made fun of the granddaughter of a prominent figure in the entertainment industry based on appearance alone. That's almost the same as picking a fight with him. At the very least, they should have at least acknowledged their surroundings and look at the reality instead of just talking about themselves on a regular basis. If they had listened to me properly, none of this would have happened. Then my father-in-law looked at us, raised his eyebrows, and made a cat-pawing sound.
Hey, Courtney, say a few words to your grandfather for me, please. We are not getting any work, and if we don't do something about it, we are going to get shut out of the entertainment business. We are family, aren't we?
Yes, it's your fault we are in this mess. It's a family crisis, so you should be able to give us some money or some work. If you have a face abroad and in the entertainment business, I know you're new and your figure is not the best, but I will accept you as my big sister. The three of them were looking at me with flirtatious glances, and it was hard to say anything. My husband sighed, and then spoke up.
We are going to Paris soon. We are moving there permanently. We just came here today to tell you that.
Really? Well, if you're moving, that means you have money, right? Then...
I married the girl you guys were insulting, didn't I?
I know. That's no reason not to help us. It is. You said at that time that if he married me, you would cut him off. I could see my in-laws gulp at my words. That was just a casual remark. I don't know how you felt about it, but I have the audio from that time. I even back it up. You can't just do that. I will sue you for invasion of privacy. If you want to sue me, go ahead. But at that time, in addition to the audio, I will also take pictures of the wounds you gave me when you pinched me with your fingernails. I will also provide you with a record of all the things that you did to me at the time. My husband looked at his mother, who was clinging to him, and said quietly,
I'm not a member of this family anymore either. I'm taking her last name. You have always said that I was a failure and a disgrace to our family. Now I no longer belong to this family, in name or in reality.
My mother-in-law slumped on the spot at my husband's self-mocking smile. Neither my father-in-law nor sister-in-law made a sound. We signaled with our eyes and stood up. Well, we will take our leave now. We then declared that we would erase all contact with my in-laws. Within a few months, we had started our life together in Paris. I later heard that my grandfather was not involved in any way in the family's job loss at that time. It seems that all three of them were well known in the industry for their bad attitude towards staff and junior staff. They were looked at with a wide eye by those around them. The only job they had left was an appearance on a local TV program that aired a 5-minute segment on weekdays about a family living in the countryside. The family that had mocked me so much as a country bumpkin was now the last remaining bastion of the entertainment industry. They are forced to live an almost self-sufficient life in the countryside deep in the mountains, where they cannot even get a decent signal on their cell phones. I, on the other hand, was blessed with modeling jobs. After that, I got a chance to appear in a movie as a main character. My husband is continuing his work while studying stage design. And now I have a new baby in my belly. I'm happy to knit little socks while thinking about what name I should give her.